right, time for another one here. So we cranked out the Surf Lock wave systems for next door, Palm Springs Surf Club. So these are going to be two big old long boys, one on each side of the pool. So you got quantity 2 of this whole thing. And so as you can see though, it's 252, which I think is encroaching on your main verticals for the date festival sign. So it's pretty big. So upon seeing how big this is, I talked to Jim. So he agreed that we would want to probably break them apart into 2 separate cabinets. And then install is just going to do a bonk when they go to install it and try to make it look like one big sign. But essentially what we have here is just an 1.5 inch wide illuminated blade sign that's super long. So we got issues with clearance. We've got trying to stuff all this stuff into that skinny thing. Also, it's getting installed on the side of the pool. So unless you have a boat, you're not going to be able to access the front. You can't access the bottom. You can only access it from the top, removable top here. And then once it's installed, they can come in around the back here. But essentially, we're going to turn this into one big old stud-mounted, illuminated, flat cutout letter that just gets mounted directly with studs. So super challenging. That's the whole reason why. Otherwise, I wouldn't even make a video. It'd be pretty simple for you guys. But there's a few things I want to point out and make sure that you don't get caught out on anything. So just going to go over that real quick. So with that, let's get after it. So lay of the land, I broke it up with the surf. You got the frame parts here, and you do have your skin strips on the side and the top. So look out, or on the bottom, look out for those. And then I got the wave cabinet. It is longer than the 10 feet, so it's going to be seamed. So pain in the butt. So you're going to have these seam jigs over here. Look out for those. You got your skins, back removable, top removables, and you got your faces, shoot studs, all that. 063 whites. You got bend marks and all that. You got the bend scribes and everything. So you got your 1/8 clear tough act. Get that to first shop like we do. And 3/4 inch pushies. Get those to first shop. They need some stuff on the face. Got some couple of patterns there for first shop. So here we go. So like I said, you've got technically quantity 2 signs that are going to get bonked together on install, but it means that you have a quantity 4 total. You get 2 surf locks, and then you got 2 wave system cabinets. And you don't have to worry about joining or anything. They just get sent out separately. So anyway, so I just want to point out, so it's going to be basically a blade sign 1.5 inch with 1.25 inch leg C-channel system. It's only going to have, because there's so much, all of this takes this all up. We only have 2 support struts in the middle. And so that means we only have the 2 jigs. And then we are going to do 3/8 studs. I wanted to go a little bigger than 5/16. So dig out the crimper for that. And because you're going to find out that there's no room in this thing, make sure you grab the 3/8 steels that are the thinner ones to make sure that we keep the lowest profile. Because even the squish in the back could be interfering with our LED trays once we get there. So just make sure everything's on a diet. Don't try it. So just make sure everything's all thin to win. So I do have face, because things are asymmetrical. Keep your faces facing forward because holes and stuff need to go, front to back justified. Same thing here. I've got the stud clearances on the back side. Obviously no studs to the front. So all the studs you see here. So I've got a symmetrical row of studs along the total top. If we go to the skins, it's kind of easier to see. So we've got all the studs going out the back on this side, and then you've got one here, and then you've got one on each of the braces. So the bottom only has like basically 4 just to help suck it in. Now, you see this line here. Everything below this line is no access. So everything like electrical and mounting needs to be above this line. Because there's like a wood plank for access. So that's why everything sort of seems kind of top heavy. Everything's mounted up here, and everything else just kind of drops lower. So there isn't really anything that we can do to pull it against. So, and then also because I wanted to have those extra studs out the back there, these 2 jiggies really don't do anything for framing. It's just to hold a stud, and they are justified to the back side. So obviously you don't need anything in the front. So these are just basically stud holders, riv nut holders. So get those in place and tack them in really well because they're going to do some work. along with these guys who are internal to jigs like we like to do. So make sure that same thing with wave systems, you'll have that. You'll have these two on here. And then also I just stretched one specific for wave systems that will also be your jiggy seam sealer upper there, your whatever you want to call it, your tie together jig. So, watch out for that for the wave systems. So, but anyway, so once you get all that done, then you can go ahead and put your face on first, I guess. And then we're going to do that trick we've done before where you are going to add a hard candy shell to the sides and the bottom. And then what that's going to do is then give you a pocket out the back. So you can see here, I'll just make this like this light purple here. So that'll fill up all the side there, and then you'll have your face here. And then what that does is it gives us this pocket in order to hide the screws out the back, and then this will be the back skin right here. So the orange will be your back skin. So we've done this before. And then also that will create a pocket up top, nice and deep. And then I recessed the top skins way down, so that way the screws will hide down there. So when you're looking at it from the front, you can't see up here. And then it creates a nice cavity in the back to hide all these screws. So once you get this frame built, you're just going to lords these on and lords these on, and then you're good to go. And then your back is going to be removable, so you don't have to worry about lordsing that or anything. As far as the top skins are concerned, then you're just going to take these guys, bend them up, and then you're just going to permanently rivet them from the top. Just rivet these directly to your skins. That means at that point that this is going to be a toaster strudel Pop-Tart system, where if you ever do need to get back into this thing, so this thing is going to basically be like an iPhone. It's not really meant to be serviced once we get this thing on the wall. Then technically we can kind of pull these out if we have to. Might be a pain in the butt. Make sure there's plenty of leash off of this to be able to poke out the back. So that way they can service it. But each leash will get its own puncture through, because there's no way for you to get your hand in this little slot. So essentially it's just do your best to run wire through, and then install will deal with all that on the back side. Again, so it's going to be just studs out the back, wires out the back, and then they're just going to push this onto the wall once they drill their holes. So like I said, so you're just going to rivet that to that. And then in order to open it up, I think you can see these guys, you just go ahead and slice them up. And I think I have enough room. Now you can see, let's go to a side view here. So the magenta here, you know who you are. The magenta is going to be that 063 white. So you can see where, we're going to have less than an inch off of this from the face. And then you got the LEDs themselves. So these guys are going to be right up against the acrylic. And then you're going to have just enough room to slide them up in and out if you have to. That being said, I also, normally what I do for you guys just to save route time is I'll just make a rectangle for this, and you just fill the rectangle. But because this might have to have accuracy, and putting LEDs in between here that far apart is going to be a waste of time, I'm thinking you might just have to put the LEDs right behind the letter to get the maximum amount of light. Hopefully no hot spots. Thankfully it's pushed through. But you might just need to have that accuracy. So I am going to go ahead and just send over on that and Wave Systems the actual letter. So I don't think I would waste time trying to do a line like we do, because all of this will be wasted space. These LEDs aren't going to do anything. They're going to fire right against aluminum and be dead. So you might just be putting LEDs there and then jumping just to get maximum action. These are going to be RGB. They're going to be, I guess, just use the same that you used for the cactus. And then they're going to provide their own electronics back here, I guess, to get their disco on. But you can see right here, it'll be internally illuminated with the programmable RGB. So you're going to need more of your RGB wire. And I imagine those are 12 volt, I think, right? So I imagine you'll just use a fast pack back here. But I'm not sure what else they're going to need for their DMX controller. They might need to be, you might actually have to send over another box, or something might happen. So I would stay on alert for that. Do your cactus LEDs, and then be ready for maybe a little raceway or something for their controller. And then I imagine, like I said, you probably just send over a fast pack or a double banger fast pack for the 12 volt. So, but just be ready to send something to me or, you know, get something going if they hit you up. So, but yeah, so you're just going to chop that out like we do. And then that's going to create the toaster slots for these to slide down. And then that's pretty much it. So it's going to be living like I said, it's going to be almost like an illuminated flat cutout letter. So Wave Systems is the same, except it's seamed. Now, I usually don't like to put the seam of a cabinet where the opening is because it just adds to that, you know, weakness, but it should be fine. So when you use the splice jig, weld it up really well. And I'm giving you on both of these just a single bend tab in order to fillet weld against that really well. There's no room to do a rivet like I usually do. So this will be a hot seam, not a cold seam with rivets. So bend this little tab up, use it to do a nice fillet weld, and then just chop it out, chop all this out, but try to remain, you know, keep that strength right there, or that strength as much as you can. But you're just going to chop that open and then chop all these open, just the slots that you need right there. So, and that'll be that toaster strudel. You got the same back on those, same back on this. You will have one on the front, but obviously don't put a riv nut on the front. Same thing here. You don't need any riv nut studs on the bottom at all, front or back, because it's below the mount system line or whatever. So this magic line right here. So keep everything, you know, so ignore that one. It's just the same. That way you didn't have to worry about it. But then it's gonna be the same deal here. Lord your little hard candy shell all the way around. You've got removable backer, good to go. Push throughs, this will allow you to do push throughs and then put the backer on. And then you're gonna seal it up. Like I say, talk to install, give them plenty of leash out, because they're gonna have to do work back there somehow. And as far as studs are concerned, again, so this brought up the whole thing. So let's say that this is the squish, right, for your 3/8, and if you have a stud going in here, it's going to be again right up against the back of the 063 white. So you really don't have much room to work. So I would say if install's cool with it, what I would do, again, it's not serviceable though, but I would just go ahead and lords the stud in. So, you know, do your riv nuts and everything. And when it comes time to assemble this thing, go ahead and put a little lords on the stud, screw it in just enough and let it cure. That should be good for, you know, that's fine. I'm also going to bring in some thinner jam nuts. So these are meant to be, you know, up against another nut, but they're low pro. But they're still almost a quarter. So they would fit in this back pocket, but what I saw was they would poke out just a little bit. I don't know if that would be okay, but that would allow you to jam this against the, you know, or do it on the other side. So it would be like right here. But again, you would have to make sure you have just enough stud out and have that jam nut work, because any amount of stud sticking out will start to interfere with your toaster slot, and that's not good. So again, we're up against it as far as space. So it seems nitpicky, but you got to kind of make sure we do this right. Otherwise, you're gonna have trouble sliding in your LEDs. So I would say just get the studs cut to the size they want, and then I would just lords them into and it's done. So unfortunately, that's just the way it is. So that would probably be that. But I will have those thin jam nuts for you coming in, just in case there's something you can make work for that. But otherwise, a full-size nut is not going to fit in here. So anyway, so that's it for that. I think that's it. Just all that, these things, rivet, cut. Yep. So little quickie here in between all the other stuff you're doing. And I will then start in on Indio. So Indio is going to be coming up on step. So be ready. Just everything with an S is SurfLock. Everything with a W down here is Wave Systems. So just keep that in mind. Everything with W, so that way you kind of know what's up. Otherwise, I think that's it. Yep. So if you have any questions, hit me up. Good luck. We're all counting on you.